So, I like Tucker Carlson. I like his show a lot. I often agree with him. Oftentimes I don't. Doesn't matter. The thing is, this statement he made yesterday in response to Media Matters was brilliant. It was perfect. Media Matters obviously is a left-wing hit organization. It is their job to bring down powerful right-wing voices. Any powerful right-wing voices, they go into your past, they go into anything they can, anything that they can make to get to show that you're racist or sexist or whatever their latest thing is, and shut you up. It is a measure of how effective Tucker is that they have been after him for weeks. And they go after your sponsors. Nobody likes to lose money. It's a good thing that Fox is standing behind Tucker. But let's listen to actually what the statement he made yesterday, which I thought was terrific. This is cut one.
Great American outrage machine is a remarkable thing. One day you're having dinner with your family, imagining everything is fine. The next, your phone is exploding with calls from reporters. They read you snippets from a press release written by Democratic Party operatives. They demand to know how you could possibly have said something so awful and offensive. Do you have a statement on how immoral you are? It's a bewildering moment, especially when the quotes in question are more than a decade old. There's really not that much you can do to respond. It's pointless to try to explain how the words were spoken in jest or taken out of context, or in any case bear no resemblance to what you actually think or would want for the country. None of that matters. Nobody cares. You know the role you're required to play. You are a sinner begging the forgiveness of Twitter. So you issue a statement of deep contrition. You apologize profusely for your transgressions. You promise to be a better person going forward. With the guidance of your contrition consultants, you send money to whatever organization claims to represent the people you supposedly offended. Then you sit back and brace for a wave of stories about your apology, all of which are simply pretexts for attacking you again. In the end, you get fired. You lose your job.
Right. That is exactly the way it works. The apologies don't matter. Nothing matters. It is a point to get you fired. It is the point to ruin your life because you are a conservative who wants to keep power among the individuals, not give it to the government, which is the left. Okay. And so what Tucker said, again, it doesn't matter to me what Tucker said. And I'll tell you something else that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that he said it 10 years ago. If they caught him making a joke off mic that was rude or something, or saying something rude, that wouldn't matter to me either. Yesterday, it really would not matter. It's not that, I've said this a million times. I'm going to say it briefly. I believe racism is a sin. I believe it is a sin against the image of God. I feel sorry for people who live with racism in their hearts. But racism is a specific thing. It is a philosophy and an attitude that other people are inferior morally or in some important way because of their race. That is what racism is. It's not an offhand remark. It's not a remark that's insensitive. It's not that you hold onto your purse when a black guy gets into the elevator because you've heard there's more black crime than white crime. It's none of those things. It's not the little tribalistic electric sparks that go off on our mind. It's a philosophy, a way you live and a way you react to the world. If you think Tucker Carlson is a racist, you shouldn't watch his show, because then everything he says is kind of poisoned by that stupid philosophy. But if he says things that are offbeat at some point, if he makes a nasty remark, if he's in a bad mood or he thinks it's funny, whatever, it doesn't matter. If I say something if my wife says to me, "Oh, you're being stupid," I don't think my wife thinks I'm stupid. And if I reacted to her as if she were being serious, it would be a power play. It would be a way of silencing her. "Don't, you called me stupid. How could you do?" Because I know her. I know that's not who she is and what she thinks of me. So it's ridiculous to do it. And that's the way they work. They take things that you say out of context. He's absolutely right about this. But what really got me about this statement is he goes on to say that you're supposed to play along with the illusion. This is cut two.
How bad it gets, no matter how despised and humiliated you may be, there is one thing you can never do, one thing that is absolutely not allowed. You can never acknowledge the comic absurdity of the whole thing. You can never laugh in the face of the mob. You must always pretend that the people yelling at you are somehow your moral superiors. You have to assume that what they say they're mad about is what they're actually mad about. You have to take them at face value. You must pretend this is a debate about virtue and not about power, that your critics are arguing from principle and not from partisanship. No matter what they take from you in the end, you must continue to pretend that these things are true. You are bad, they are good, the system is on the level.
See, the reason this is such a great statement is because what we usually do when this happens is we play the what about game. We say, well, what about when you said this? And what about when you said that? You know, if I say, if I say something, I have women in binders, and I'm Mitt Romney, I get swept away. If I kill my mistress by leaving her in the drink, I'm the lion of the Senate. That's the game we play. But playing that game is essentially admitting that the system is serious, as the system is right, but the system itself is just a mirage. The system of outrage is just a mirage for seizing power, and that is the problem. Let's finish. I can't play his whole statement. You should go on and listen to it. It was a great statement, but listen to this next cut.
What if we stopped pretending for a minute? What if we acknowledged what's actually going on? One side is deadly serious. They believe that politics is war. They're not interested in abstractions or principles, rules or traditions. They seek power, and they plan to win it, whatever it takes. If that includes getting you fired or silencing you or threatening your family at home or throwing you in prison, okay. They know what their goal is. If you're in the way, they will crush you. What's interesting is how reliably the other side pretends that none of this is happening. Republicans in Washington do a fairly credible imitation of an opposition party. They still give speeches. They tweet quite a bit. They make concerned noises about how liberals are bad. But on the deepest level, it's all a pose. In their minds, where it matters, Republican leaders are controlled by the left. They know exactly what they're allowed to say and believe. They know what the rules are. They may understand that those rules are written by the very people who seek their destruction. They ruthlessly enforce them anyway. Republicans in Washington police their own with a never-ending enthusiasm. Like trustees at a prison, they dutifully report back to the warden, hoping for perks. Nobody wants to be called names. Nobody wants to be Trump.
Nobody wants to be Trump. That's the purpose of what they're doing to Donald Trump. That is the purpose of what they're doing to Donald Trump. Because let's not forget, they did the same thing to George W. Bush. You saw the movie Vice. They did the same thing. They demonized them. They're racist. They're hateful. They're bombing people for oil. They're doing all these things. And Trump doesn't care. Trump doesn't react. And that's what's making them so insane. Trump doesn't care. Did he say something a little insensitive at Charlottesville? Yes. Is he a racist? Obviously not. If he were a racist, black people wouldn't be doing so well under his administration. He is not being a racist president. I don't know what's in his heart. I don't know what's in anybody's heart but mine. But he is not doing racist things as president of the United States. Their whole thing is to get him like this. And the fact that Trump doesn't care is what is driving them insane. Tucker, who is not Trump, he's not the kind of boorish, outsized personality that Trump is. He has to make a statement, and the statement is exact. And what's shameful here is the people who are against him. It's shameful to me that the people who thrive on free speech are the people who are ganging up. They help this outrage machine along. They're ganging up on Tucker Carlson. Here's Stephen Colbert going after him.
A lot of people say terrible things. And by a lot of people, I mean Tucker Carlson. He has been saying just awful stuff for years. In fact, between 2006 and 2011, Tucker spent an hour a week calling into a shock jock radio show hosted by a gentleman named Bubba the Love Sponge. By the way, Love Sponge, the least effective method of contraception. The most effective? Tucker Carlson.
Okay, really funny, except every day, this former comedian, Stephen Colbert, goes on TV and blasts the president, right? What would it look like in a world with no free speech where no one could blast the president? Oh yeah, the Obama administration. But I mean, really, what would it look like? This guy would be carted away like in Venezuela, where they're about to accuse the opposition leader of sabotaging the electric grid so they can arrest him. That's what it would look like. He should be defending Tucker Carlson. He should be saying, well, the guy said things I disliked, but, we're not going to knock people off the air for that because maybe I did that 10 years ago. Maybe 10 years from now, when it's like everybody thinks, oh, Trump did a really good job, they go back and unearth what Stephen Colbert was saying and say, you know what? It's no good to be a left-winger anymore. You're out of work. That's not the way we want to live. Watching Twitter, watching this outrage machine is like watching the French Revolution. It's like watching people run from door to door, dragging people out of their houses and beating them to death for the things they said maybe 10 years ago, maybe yesterday, maybe were overheard, maybe were misinterpreted. Chris Cuomo is the other one. I mean, after all, you know, he's making a living doing the same thing. Is there nothing that they could find that he said? Is there nothing that he said off mic? Nothing he said to his wife? Nothing he said to his friends? Nothing after a couple of drinks that he had said that they could get him on? But he piles on too.
They've seen this president make it to the White House in part by doing the same thing. Now, a lot of this stuff that's coming up, at least about Carlson, is from years ago when he was desperate for attention. Here's the test. Would he say the same things today? No, he's too busy playing the victim. He'd only say that he was naughty, but he wouldn't repeat them tonight. Why not? Come on, big man. Read the list of all the things that you said and do it again and show that you mean it. Come on. You're not more about the money now than you are about the truth, are you? He says apologizing to the mob costs people their jobs. What a coward. Why don't you repeat what you said if it's not such a big deal? You're not going to apologize.
Guard your dad. Hey, mama's boy. I bet you're going to cry. Come on, mama's boy. Let's see you cry. Come on.
He's a bully. Chris Cuomo's a bully. What he's saying is, oh, why don't you apologize? Hey, you big man. He's pushing. Why? Because even though Chris Cuomo has maybe, I don't know, a tenth of Tucker's audience, he knows that all the big people are behind him. He's got all the thugs behind him, CBS, NBC, ABC. He knows they will all stand behind him and back him up. And all Tucker Carlson has, one group, Fox News. And we know what they think of Fox News. Fox News does not deserve to live, does not deserve to exist because they disagree. And so they're demonized all the time. Anything anybody says on Fox News, he should be fired. Jean Pirro made a ridiculous statement about hijabs the other day. And they're lumping her together with Tucker Carlson because it's all Fox News. Let's listen to what Tucker said. But let's listen first of all. Here's a clip this is from the Huffington Post, all right? So it's part of the attack machine, part of the Media Matters attack machine. Their headline is Tucker Carlson was open to a racist president 10 years before Trump. So Trump, obviously a racist president. Just remember, George W. Bush was a racist president back in his day. So this is no change. It's only a matter of degree. It's not a change in kind. So Tucker Carlson was open to a racist president. And then they have this clip of things that they've edited together of what he said. And it sounds pretty darn ugly. As this is on this guy, Bubba the Love Sponge. So it's obviously a shock jock boys radio. So here he is.
Iraq is a crappy place filled with a bunch of, semi-literate primitive monkeys. But I just have zero sympathy for them or their culture, a culture where people just don't use toilet paper or forks.
And the way they treat women, I agree with you. Their culture is, but you're in their homeland, and you're over there as an American who they hate, and they want nothing more than the Americans off of their soil. So they're not going to play games.
They can just shut the up and obey, is my view.
How could you salvage Iraq at this point?
I don't, it's beyond our control. I mean, if somehow the Iraqis decided to behave like human beings or something, he'd need to say, look, I'm a bigot, okay? I'm a bigot. I don't like Islamic extremists. Like, if you are really heavily into Islam, I'm sorry, I don't care for you that much. And I don't care what that sounds like. You can call me a racist. You can come where the you want.
And at this juncture, you could say that and not catch a lot of for it.
You certainly could. I'd vote for you if you said that.
So what is he saying? He starts out with saying, oh, these Iraqis are monkeys, all Iraqis are monkeys, or something like this. But what he's talking about, he's making a joke. They're doing a routine together on this shock jock radio show about if that a Democrat could win an election if he just came out and was racist. That's what he says. If there were a Democrat to come out in the 2008 election and say, you know what the problem is? It's Islamic extremism. It's not terror. It's not some, indefinable threat out there. It's these lunatic Muslims who are behaving like animals. He's making up quotes for this Democrat presidential candidate. And I'm going to kill as many of them as I can. If a Democrat were to say that, he would be elected king. Okay. And so the co-host says at one point, so basically, this is Bubba the Love Sponge says, so basically we need a racist president. We need to get these Mexicans out of here and the Islam. Let's kill all the Muslims. And Carlson says, well, wait a minute. Whoa. Here, now Carlson says, this is what he says. He says, I think that you're onto something. I mean, I'm not someone who's like a Klansman or anything, but someone who's totally unbound by PC rules, who will just say whatever the hell he wants. Someone who really will, and everyone claims, oh, I say it like it is, but nobody actually does. The guy who does, who says, I'm unabashedly pro-American. Screw the French. Who cares what they think? The Belgians, they don't like it. They can pound sand. You know what I mean? That guy is going to get elected. So he's making these jokes about a Democrat candidate who could get elected, and they play it as if these are the words coming out of his mouth. These are the things he believed. If I turned on Tucker Carlson and he was saying those things every day, I wouldn't watch him. I don't think a lot of people would watch him. I don't think Fox would support him. Those are not the things he's saying. That's not who he is. Again, if you take these things out of context, what they do is they reduce it to sexist, racist, homophobic. Nobody goes and checks it out. Nobody goes and sees what he says. And so then they come and they take your job away and they take your life away. Only to conservatives. Kill your girlfriend and you're a leftist. You're the lion of the Senate. Say you put women in binders. You're Mitt Romney. You're out of here. That is the way it works. So why take any of it seriously? Why take any of it seriously? Again, racism is a sin. I get it. If you live that way, I'm not going to follow you. I'm not going to watch you. I will argue against you. I will stand up to you. But that's not what Tucker Carlson is doing. That's not who he is. That's not the show I watch. I don't watch it every night, but I watch it often. That's not the show that I watch. And here is the thing about what Tucker did, about the fact that he stood up for it. The Wall Street Journal, I think it was over the weekend, they wrote an editorial. It starts out, after Evergreen State, the university, and the University of Missouri caved to identity politics demands, they were shunned by alumni, parents, prospective students, and fans. Those are cautionary tales, but the University of Wyoming provides a counterpoint. The University of Wyoming unveiled its new marketing slogan, "The world needs more cowboys." The campaign lauded self-reliance, grit, and courage, and suggested that anyone with the caliber of character can be a cowboy. All right, so what happened, right? 24 faculty members complained. Communications professor Tracy Owens Patton said that what goes behind the term cowboy is erasure, racism, sexism. They wanted them to take this slogan down. Racism, sexism, heterosexism, genocide. The university's Committee on Women and People of Color wrote in a letter that the marketing campaign risks casting UW as a place where only people who identify with white male and able-bodied connotations of cowboy belong. So what did the University of Wyoming do? They told these people to pound sand. They voted unanimously to keep the slogan. What was the result? Students, alumni, and sports fans apparently weren't offended. The university bookstore sold out of the World Needs More Cowboys t-shirts the first week they hit the shelves. Responding to demand, the University of Wyoming put the slogan on other products and sold roughly 5,000 items in the first 6 months. Between July and December, royalties were up $38,000 over the same period as the year before. The school licensed 143 different products with the tagline to third-party vendors, including a coffin, by the way, that said the world needs more cowboys. Plus, of course, their applications went up. You stand up, you win. You go woke, you go broke. And this is the thing. I've told you before that it's not the majority who rules. It's the intellectual majority. That's what they're trying to control. Chick-fil-A is the other example. They stood up and now they're much bigger than they were. The counterexample here, by the way, is Deborah Messing, who on Women's Day, on International Women's Day, she put out a picture of empowering vagina cupcakes, and she was attacked for being transphobic because not all women have vaginas. And by the way, all women have vaginas. It's one of the things that gives them away. That's how you can tell, But just saying, they piled on Deborah Messing. She had to apologize for her cute little vagina cupcakes. She had to apologize for being anti-trans. The point is, and this is the point that Tucker's making, in the novel 1984, if you've never read it, you should. It's a playbook for this stuff. The torturer, O'Brien, has Winston Smith, who is the guy they're trying to convert to Big Brother, and he's torturing him, and he keeps saying, how much is 2 + 2? And Winston says it's 4. So they shock him. I can't remember what they're doing to him, putting rats on his face, something like that. They shock him. He says, if the party says it's not 4, but 5, then how many is it? And he says, it's still 4. So they keep giving him shocks and giving him pain. And finally, he's just to stop the torture, he says, all right, it's 5. And the guy says, no. Now you're lying. You know it's 4, but you say it's 5. It's as many, 2 and 2 is as many as the party says it is. That's what they're up about. That's what they're trying to get to. Gender is what the party says it is. Marriage is what the party says it is. Race and racism, what the party says it is. And if it's one thing one day and one thing another day, that's what it is, as long as the party says what it is. Sexism is saying you've got women in binders. Is it also raping, being accused of raping somebody? No, that's not sexism if you're for abortion. Is it driving your girlfriend into the drink and leaving her there to drown? No, that's not sexism. It's what the party says it is. And the party had a slogan in 1984: who controls the past controls the future, who controls the present controls the past. And that's what they're trying to do, is control the present.